Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Today's class is arms race, so we're going to be focusing on upper body muscles and core. So to get started, I recommend you warm up. You can use one of our warm-ups online. A couple exercises that you could target the upper body is some arm circles, so sort of closer or wider, and then you could go backwards as well. And then you could do some push-ups as well to get warmed up. So I know everyone doesn't have any, might not have any gym equipment. I certainly don't have a lot. So a couple things we're going to be using today. You can cater it to whatever you have. What I'm going to be using is a milk jug, or in my case, an orange juice jug. Just anything you can really comfortably handle and use, sort of like a dumbbell. Another thing we're going to be using is a backpack. So you can adjust the weight of this in the sense that you can add things into the backpack or take them out to make it heavier or lighter to increase or decrease the intensity of the exercises. And then the last thing we're going to be using is a chair. Just anything really stable. Just make sure it won't fall over on you if you lean on it. So those are the pieces of equipment we're going to be using today. So we'll go ahead and get started with the milk jug, or in my case, the orange juice jug. So we're going to start with some bicep curls. So I only have one, so I'm going to have to do both arms. So you're going to want to keep a nice neutral spine here and make sure you're breathing through your entire exercise. If you need to up the intensity, you can find a heavier item to do the bicep curls with. Make sure we're squeezing at the top there. And then we'll switch sides. Again, making sure to squeeze at the top. Something else that can add to the intensity of the exercise is if it's a milk jug or whatnot, if there's liquid sort of sloshing around inside of it, it adds a little bit of a stabilization factor in there, in that the weight is moving around. All right, and then we're going to take that milk jug and we're going to do some tricep kickbacks. So in this exercise, we're going to lean a little bit forward at the waist, again keeping that neutral spine alignment, and we're going to hold the milk jug sort of right in front of our waist, and we're going to kick back with our triceps. So come into 90 degrees and then kick back. Again, I only have one, so I'm going to have to do both arms. Make sure you're squeezing at the end of that contraction, breathing through that exercise. We'll go ahead and switch sides. For each of these exercises, I recommend 10 to 12 reps per set, but cater it to whatever you need to do, whether or not you have heavier or lighter items, or you don't need it. So again, we're coming to 90 degrees, keeping that neutral spine, squeezing at the end of that kickback. If the item sort of slips in your hand, feel free to get your grip back and get back into a good position. All right. Now we're going to do some chest flies, just standing. So again, grabbing the milk jug. With any of these exercises, if you find that the intensity is a little too high, you don't need to use a milk jug or anything. You can just do body weight. If you need to up the intensity, you can grab a heavier item. So with the chest flies, again, we're keeping a neutral spine alignment. We're bringing the item with a slightly bent elbow about to parallel with our body, maybe a little bit further back. We're squeezing in with the chest. You should feel this on the inside of your chest, sort of targeting those inner chest muscles. Again, I'm going to go with both arms on this exercise. If you have two items that are the same weight, you can just do both hands at once. And switch sides. And if you need to pause the video at any moment, feel free to do so. You don't have to keep any pace. It's up to you. Again, keeping that neutral spine alignment. squeezing in the inner chest. All right, and then we're going to turn around and make that a reverse fly. So in this case, we're going to have that slight bend again in the waist, keeping that neutral spine alignment, and we're pulling it back this time. So now we're staying in the, keeping the milk jug down low, and then we're pulling it back. So this time you should feel it in between your shoulder blades. Make sure you're breathing through your exercise. Breathe in on the way down and out on the way up. So in and out, in and out. Again, slight bend in the elbow. We don't want to extend our elbow completely. Don't want to lock it out. Keep that neutral spine alignment, and we'll switch sides. So I'm trying to make sure this milk jug is sort of moving in a plane parallel with my chest. It's going to ensure that I'm using the muscles between my shoulder blades to squeeze. All right, and now we're going to do a shoulder press. So in this exercise, we're going to stand straight up. We're going to hold the milk jug about right above our shoulder with our elbow bent, neutral spine alignment, and we're going to press up. Make sure we're squeezing at the top of that contraction. Standing nice and tall. We don't want to hunch our shoulders over. It's going to put too much stress on our shoulders there. Or on our back. We want the stress on our shoulders. Make sure we're lifting straight up in the line with our body. We're not necessarily going forward or backwards. Just keeping that nice alignment. Now we'll switch sides. Again, if you need to raise or lower the intensity, you can take away the milk jug or maybe add liquid to it or find another item that's heavier if you want to raise it. We're not going for speed here, even if we have a lighter item or if we're raising body weight. We're going for quality of each rep. So nice and slow and controlled. All right, and now we're going to go into a bent over row. So similar, we're kind of switching back and forth between standing up into kind of a bent over position. So again, we're bending at the waist, keeping a nice neutral spine alignment. We're going to hold the item we have sort of in a vertical position opposed to a horizontal position. And we're going to pull it back. So reach it down and then pull it back parallel or perpendicular to your body. Again, you should feel this kind of squeezing between your back, between your shoulder blades. Keep that nice neutral spine alignment and breathe through those exercises. Nice and slow and controlled. We'll switch sides. So again, nice neutral spine alignment. Bend at the pelvis. We're pulling back with our back muscles. After this, we're going to be going to the ground. So take your time, as long as you need to get to the ground. Again, if you need to pause the video, you absolutely can do that. Awesome. So we're going to keep the milk jug for these exercises, but we're going to go to the ground here. So I'll tilt my camera down a little bit there. All right, so we're going to do some crunches here. So knees at about 90 degrees. Just leaning back a little bit. You can hold the milk jug in front of you if you need to. You can hold it out if you want to increase the intensity. The further closer to your body, the easier it is. Or you don't even need the milk jug. You can just use body weight. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to rest our head on the ground, and then we're going to just lift our shoulder blades off the ground. We're not trying to sit up here necessarily. We're just lifting our shoulder blades off the ground. Make sure we're breathing through this exercise. Again, if you want to increase the intensity, bring it out there. You'll have to control it more with your shoulders. All right, and now we're going to do some Russian twists. There we go. Sorry, went to sleep mode on my computer. So we're going to do some Russian twists now, so we'll sit up. Again, knees at about 90 degrees. We can keep them on the ground, or if we want to increase the intensity, we can lift them off the ground. Keeping that nice neutral spine alignment, and we can hold our milk jug in both hands. And we can twist back and forth. We're not necessarily trying to touch the ground with the milk jug here, just getting close to the ground. You should feel it in the sides of your abs. So as opposed to the one-arm sort of exercises, we're looking for about 10 to 12 on each side this time. Make sure we're breathing through these exercises. It's really important with core, as with any exercise, but definitely core, because you don't want to just lock up and not breathe and lose oxygen to your brain and your muscles. Awesome. Cool, now we're going to do some push-ups, but we're not going to use the milk jug anymore. What we will use is the backpack. So again, if you need to increase or decrease the intensity here, we can add or take away things. So I'm just going to add in a couple notebooks. My backpack is actually the zippers are broken right now, so I have to clip them together. But we're just going to add body weight this way. Now, if you don't want to, you don't have to. You can just do body weight itself, and that's a-okay. So we're going to start off with some push-ups. So you can start on your knees. You can start on your palms, or you can go up to your fists. If you want to increase the intensity, you can go up to your toes. I'm going to go on my toes for this. We're going to go down to about 90 degrees and then push back up. Nice and controlled on the way down. Breathe out on the way up. Again, we're going for about 10 to 12 on this one. If it gets too intense, we can turn down the intensity halfway through and go to our knees. Or we can take off the backpack if we need to. Again, down to 90 degrees. Arms are about shoulder width apart. You should feel this in your triceps and also in your chest. All right, and next we're going to do some dips. So this is where the chair comes in. Now, I want to heavily emphasize to use something that's very stable. This isn't the most stable thing, but I've tested it with some dips, and it's fairly stable. But if you have, a table or maybe a bed that's a little more stable and won't wobble on you, we're going to emphasize safety here and not necessarily using things that might topple over while you're doing the dip. So with this one, you can start seated on the surface, and then we're going to take our arms. We're going to walk our legs out with our palms on the surface, with our arms about shoulder, maybe a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. We're going to come down to about 90 degrees, and then back up. So controlled on the way down, and then push up. Maybe not quite 90 degrees, just a little bit less than that. Again, we're shooting for about 10 to 12 here. If it gets too intense, we can just take off the backpack. My triceps aren't the strongest, so I'm going to take off the backpack. All right, and now our last exercise, we can get rid of the surface, the chair, whatever it is. Put the backpack back on. We're going to do some planks. So we'll go for about 30 seconds on this. If you have a timer, or I'll time you on this. So So with the planks, get this out of the way. There we go. Cool. So with the planks, we want to go onto our elbows. If we want, we can go up to our hands. I'm going to do it on my elbows. We're going to stick our legs out like that, and then lift up our glutes so that we're about parallel with the floor. We don't want to have our glutes high in the air as it's taking all that burn off of our abs. Go about 15 more seconds on this one. If it gets too intense, you can go down to your knees, go up to your hands if you need to. Make sure you're breathing through this exercise. Again, it's really easy to just lock up and not breathe. It's not good. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. So that's our arms race for today. If you want to, you can take that set and just do a second set on top of it. Again, if you need to adjust the equipment accordingly to lower or raise the intensity, absolutely do that. Cater this exercise to what you have, these exercises to what you have at home. Yeah, and stay safe, everyone.